Hello students, welcome. In this third lecture of the series of three-dimensional geometry and vectors, we are going to study about direction ratios. In the last class, we studied about direction cosines. So, the direction ratio, before starting that particular topic, I would like to solve this question which I have given you in the previous lecture. So, you can check your solution from my solution. There are two lines and their direction cosines are satisfying these two equations. So what we will do, from the first equation we can write that L is equal to 5m minus 3m. This is how we can express L. Now we will substitute in the second equation. So this will be 7 times of L is 5m minus 3m and its square plus 5m square minus 3n square equal to 0. Now when we will simplify it by opening this by an identity of a minus b whole square and further simplifying, we will find that this will become 25 into 7 175 plus 5 180 m square. This is what it will become. About this, 9 into 7 will be 63, minus 3 will be 60, so plus 60 n square, and there will be also a term of mn, that will be 5 into 3 15 into 2 30 multiplied with 7 210, so minus 210 mn equal to 0. Now let us take 30 common and it will get cancelled, and also divide by n square. So this will become, after dividing by 30 n square, 6 m upon n whole square. This will become 2 and this will become 7 m upon n equal to 0. So we have divided by 30 n square overall and we have obtained this result. Now either by quadratic formula, it is quadratic in m by n, we can solve it and we will find that m by n is coming out to be minus b plus minus root over b square, that is 49, minus 4ac, that is 48, that will be 1 over all, upon 2a, that is 12 here. 6 into 2 is 12. So you will get two set of answers. One will be 8 by 12, which is 2 by 3. Another will be half. Now m is to n is 2 by 3 or half. And when we further simplify the another equation in which we express L in terms of m and n, so we will come to a conclusion that when dividing by L, when dividing m by n it is, so I am dividing by L, okay. So I am dividing by L. Instead of that, it would be better to divide by n. So we will divide by n. So this n will cancel and m upon n is 2 by 3 first. So L upon n will be equal to, when we put 2 by 3 here, it will become 10 by 3. And 10 by 3 minus 3 is actually 1 by 3. So L by n will be 1 by 3. In another case, when we take half, so this will become 5 by 2 minus 3. That will become 5 minus 6 by 2, which is minus 1 by 2. So minus 1 by 2 is another possibility. So what we observe over here is that the ratio L by n is this or this, and m by n is this or this. So we can express all the terms in terms of n. So L can be written as n by 3, m can be written as 2n by 3, and n is n itself. Another possibility is that L can be written as minus n by 2 or m can be written as n by 2 and n is n itself. Now we know that square sum of the square of direction cosines is equal to 1. So when we will square it, n square by 9 plus 4 n square by 9 plus n square, that would be 1. And can we get the value of 9? So just calculate. This will become after LCM 9n square plus 4, 13n square plus 1, 14n square. And 9 will go here. So finally n is equal to 3 upon root over 14 with a plus or a minus sign. Similarly, we will do for this, we will get n is equal to, same thing we have to do, L square plus m square plus n square equal to 1. So what we will get, n square 1 by 4, 1 by 4 and 1. So overall it will become, after taking LCM, 6 by 4. So n square will be 4 by 6 or n is equal to plus minus 2 by root over 6. This is what we will get. So basically there are two set of direction cosines and both the direction cosines resemble one of the lines among the two lines. So we can say that our answer finally is, first line is, when we will put plus minus 3 by root 14, so this will become plus minus 1 by root 14 and this will become plus minus 2 by root 14 and the last coordinate will become plus minus 3 by root 14. So this is the direction cosine of one of the lines, and we already studied that a line has two set of direction cosines. So you will take plus or minus. So this is one line. If we come to another line, here we'll put n equal to plus minus 2 by root 6. So we will get plus minus plus 1 by root 6. Similarly, when we will put here, we will get plus minus 1 by root 6. And if we put n, it is plus minus 2 by root 6. So this is the set of direction cosines of the another line. When you take minus, you have to take plus here and again plus here. If you take plus here, you take minus here and minus here. So this is how we will solve this question. I hope you have understood the solution method. Now we will come to direction ratios. So direction ratios basically are defined by the help of direction cosines. And what was direction cosine? If you have seen the previous lecture, I hope you remember it. Direction cosines are the cos of the angle of a line which it makes with the x, y or z axis. So those are denoted by L, M, N. So if we take A, B, C as the direction ratios, so what happens? That direction ratios are always proportional to direction cosines. That is, A upon L is equal to B upon M is equal to C upon N. As we know that direction cosines are unique for a line, either we change the sign and get another direction of the line, but in a sense the direction is unique. The line is represented uniquely by the set of direction cosines. But in case of direction ratio, you can have infinite direction ratio. You can take just equal to k, which is a non-zero value. K is not zero obviously, otherwise everything will become zero. So A is actually KL, B is equal to KM and C is equal to KA. So these are the direction ratios, and you can take any real value of K which is non-zero and you will get another direction ratio. For example, if you remember, we have taken direction cosines in earlier class also. So suppose if we take 1 by 2, 1 by 4 and 3 by 4 as the direction cosines, just check this is right or not. If you square this, it will be 1 by 4, this will be 1 by 16, this will be 9 by 16. Are they coming equal to 1? No, they are not coming equal to 1. So how do we put the values? If this is 3 by 4, that is 9 by 16. This is 1 by 4, that is 1 by 16, so 10 by 16. We need 6 by 16 more. So we can say root over 6 upon 4. This can be accepted as a set of direction cosine which is valid, because the square of this is 6 by 16, the square of this is 1 by 16, the square of this is 9 by 16. So overall when you add them, you will get L square plus M square plus N square is equal to 16 by 16, which is equal to 1. Now direction cosine is unique. If you change the sign for each of these direction cosines, you will get another set of direction cosine which also represent the same line. So in a sense, direction cosine is equal. It can be represented in two manners only. But if we talk about direction ratios, that can be multiple of these in any form. If we take k is equal to 2, we can get a direction ratio which is root 6 by 2, 1 by 2, 3 by 2. So this is a direction ratio. It does not need to satisfy a square plus b square plus c square equal to 1. You can take minus 2 also. You can take minus 3. Whatever value you can take of k, you will get something another. So root 6 by 2, minus 1 by 2, minus 3 by 2. So actually direction ratios are infinite. Can we find direction ratios if direction cosines are given? So yes, we can find them, because as we wrote over here that A is equal to KL, B is equal to KM, C is equal to KN. When we will square them and add them, A square plus B square plus C square, it will be K square, because L square plus M square plus N square will be 1. So the value of K is plus minus root over A square plus B square plus C square. Now can you say what is the value of L? L is actually A by root over sigma of A square. M is B by root over sigma of A square, and C is root over sigma of A square. This is actually sigma of A square. When we write it in short, it is like this. You can put plus minus everywhere. So these are the direction cosines. This represent L, this represent M, and this represent N. Whereas these are the direction ratios. A, B, C are the direction ratios. So yes, we can find direction cosines if we know the direction ratios. And any set of three numbers can become a direction ratio of a line. From that we will get a unique direction cosine. Now if we remember from the previous class, what is the angle between two lines whose direction cosines are given to us? So cos of the angle between two lines, if we know the direction cosines of these two lines, is L1, L2, M1, M2, N1, N2. We derived it in the previous class. Now if the direction ratios are given, we will simply apply the formula which we have studied just now. So L1 is A1 by root over sigma of A1 square, that is A1 square plus B1 square plus C1 square. L2 is A2 by sigma of A2 square. Similarly here it will be B1 B2 and then C1 C2. So when we will write them and combine, in the denominator root over sigma of A1 square into root over sigma of A2 square is the LCM of each of the three terms, and the numerator A1 A2 plus B1 B2 plus C1 C2. Now this is the cos of the angle between two lines whose direction ratios are given as A1, B1, C1, A2, B2, C2. If the lines are parallel, then the direction ratios are proportional, because as we studied earlier that the direction cosines are equal. So if there are parallel lines, then we will say that the direction ratios are proportional because their direction cosines are equal, but direction ratios can be infinite, so they can be proportional. If the line are perpendicular, in that case theta is 90, so cos theta is 0. So we will say that A1 A2 plus B1 B2 plus C1 C2 is equal to 0. Now this is the same result almost as we studied in direction cosines. One more important point which will help you in the next few lectures also. Let us discuss that particular point also. So if we have 2 points given, x1, y1, z1 and x2, y2, z2, and let us join them, can we find the direction ratio of this line? Yes, we can find the direction ratio of this line. Actually, this line when projected on x-axis will give you a length x2 minus x1. Similarly, this line when projected on y-axis, it will give a length y2 minus y1, and on z-axis z2 minus z1. Let me take x-axis here somewhere. This line is in the space, so it is not necessary that this line and this line may be in the same plane. We drop a perpendicular from here. This I am calling as x-axis. So this projection from here to here is actually x2 minus x1. So basically, this line segment you can treat as a vector, and it has 3 components. This is the x component. Similarly, y component is y2 minus y1, and z component is z2 minus z1. Now, if I ask you to actually write this vector in component form, you will say that the vector AB can be written as x2 minus x1 I cap plus y2 minus y1 j cap plus z2 minus z1 k cap. So here these 3 portions are actually direction ratio of this line segment, because we remember that if there is a unit vector, then a unit vector A cap is written as Li cap plus Mj cap plus Mk cap, where L, M, N are direction cosines of that line which the vector represent, and L, M, N are component also along x, y and z axis. These are also component along x, y and z axis. But here it is not necessary that AB is a unit vector. In that case, these can be direction ratios. These are, maybe they can be direction cosines if this is a unit vector. Otherwise, these are the direction ratios. So the direction ratio of a line segment which is joining 2 points can be written as x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1, z2 minus z1. So this will help in future also in coming lectures, that if 2 points are given, can you find the direction ratio? So yes, we can find the direction ratio, and from here we can find the direction cosine also. What we have to simply do, we have to square all 3 coordinates and add them and take the square root and divide them by this value, so that will be a direction cosine. Okay, let me write it here. If you want to find the direction cosine, x2 minus x1 upon sum of the square of these 3 terms and square root of that. So we write sigma of x2 minus x1 whole square. Sigma means that x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square plus z2 minus z1 whole square. Similarly, you will do here and you will do here also. So this was the lecture on direction ratios I hope till now you have understood what we have done in these 3 lectures. These are the very basic lectures. We'll meet in the next lecture, students. Thank you.